This is the story of the woman who refused to let her garden die. There lived a woman who had spent 20 years creating the most beautiful garden in her village. Every morning at sunrise, she would walk among her flowers, tending each plant with loving care. Her roses bloomed in perfect crimson waves. Her jasmine filled the evening air with sweet perfume. Butterflies danced among her lavender, and hummingbirds visited her honeysuckle. This garden was her pride, her joy, her greatest achievement. People traveled from distant towns just to see its beauty. Children played safely in its shade. Lovers met beneath its flowering trees. But as autumn arrived, something terrible began to happen. The leaves started changing color. The flowers began to wilt. The once vibrant garden was slowly dying before her eyes. She could not accept this tragedy. Each morning, she would run through her garden, frantically trying to save every dying plant. She painted the brown leaves green. She glued fallen petals back onto stems. She covered wilting flowers with artificial blooms. Day and night, she worked desperately to preserve what had been. But despite her efforts, winter continued its advance. Her beautiful garden was disappearing, and she was powerless to stop it. One cold morning, she collapsed among her dying flowers, weeping with exhaustion. A neighbor found her there and took pity on her obvious distress. "Why do you torment yourself this way?" the neighbor asked gently. "Gardens die every winter. This is natural." But the woman could not hear this wisdom. "You don't understand," she cried. "This garden was everything to me. Without it, I am nothing. I must save it somehow." The neighbor thought for a moment, then said, "Come with me. I want to show you something." Despite her reluctance to leave her dying garden, the woman followed her neighbor through the village. They stopped at the first house they came to. "Tell me," the neighbor said to the woman who lived there, "have you ever lost something precious to you?" The woman nodded sadly. "Last spring, my husband's mother passed away. She had raised the most beautiful vegetable garden behind our house. When she died, we didn't know how to care for it. By autumn, it was completely overgrown." They continued to the next house. Again, the neighbor asked the same question. This time, the answer was different, but equally painful. "My daughter moved away to the city last year," said an elderly man. "She used to fill our home with music, playing piano every evening. Now the house is silent. That beautiful music is gone forever." House after house, they discovered the same truth. Everyone had lost something beautiful. Everyone had watched something precious fade away. A mother had lost her son's childhood laughter when he grew up. A craftsman had lost the use of his hands to arthritis. A teacher had lost her sharp memory to age. Each person had their own garden that had died. Each had experienced the heartbreak of watching beauty disappear. As the day ended, the woman returned to her own garden with new eyes. The dying flowers looked different now. They were not a unique tragedy visited upon her alone. They were part of something much larger. She knelt among the brown leaves and withered stems, but this time she did not try to fix them. Instead, she simply sat quietly, feeling the connection to every other person who had ever loved something and had to let it go. For the first time in months, she felt peace, not because her garden was saved, but because she was no longer alone in her loss. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering, but he also taught that understanding our shared humanity is the beginning of compassion. Think about the gardens in your own life that have died or are dying, the relationships that have ended, the dreams that didn't unfold as planned, the youth that has faded, the roles that no longer fit. We often experience these losses as personal failures or unique tragedies. We exhaust ourselves trying to preserve what cannot be preserved, like the woman painting leaves green. But what if these losses are not punishments or mistakes? What if they are simply part of the natural rhythm of existence that connects us to every other human being who has ever lived? The Buddhist concept of impermanence is not meant to make us sad. It's meant to free us from the impossible task of making permanent what is naturally temporary. When we truly understand that everything changes, we can love more fully in each moment, knowing that this moment itself is precious precisely because it will not last forever. The woman's breakthrough came not when she saved her garden, but when she discovered she was not alone in her loss. This recognition transformed her isolation into connection, her despair into compassion. There is profound comfort in realizing that your struggle is not unique. Every human heart has known the pain of watching beauty fade, love end, or dreams die. But there is also profound freedom in this recognition. What if loss is universal? Then so is the possibility of healing. If change is natural, then so is our capacity to adapt and grow. The Zen tradition speaks of the beauty of mano no aware, the bittersweet awareness of the impermanence of all things. This is not sadness, but a tender appreciation for the fleeting nature of beauty. Cherry blossoms are treasured in Japan, not despite their brief blooming, but because of it. Their beauty is intensified by its brevity. They teach us to be present for beauty while it lasts. Your own gardens, your relationships, your youth, your dreams, your roles are equally precious because they are temporary. The very fact that they cannot last forever makes each moment with them more valuable, not less. Tonight, as you think about what you are clinging to or what you have lost, remember the woman and her village. Can you see your experience reflected in the universal human story of loving and letting go? Can you find comfort in knowing that everyone who has ever loved has also had to say goodbye? Can you discover freedom in accepting that holding on too tightly creates suffering, while letting go with grace creates peace? The Buddha said, in the end, only three things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. Your garden may be dying, but you are not alone in tending to loss. We are all gardeners of the temporary, learning to find beauty in both the blooming and the letting go. The seasons will continue to change. Gardens will grow and die. Hearts will love and grieve. This is not the problem to be solved. It is the human experience to be shared. In sharing it, we discover that our deepest losses connect us to our deepest humanity. And in that connection, even in the midst of loss, we are never truly alone.